welcome. I'm so excited to be with you. This is such a joy for me to spend time with you this morning. And I, first of all, I want to just acknowledge and appreciate everybody who sent in their chart and sent in their request for discussing their chart, because just looking at the different kind of questions that are coming up, there is so much shifting going on in the world. So much shifting going on in the world. So what I want to start with this morning is I would love for everybody to take a moment and write in the chat, what is something that's going well in your life? What is something that is going well in your life right now? Just write that in the chat. In the meantime, I will share what's going well in my life. And what's going well is the opportunity to have these calls with you. I did mini workshop, a two-part mini workshop last week, which was so much fun. It was really great to spend time with everyone, and also really great to see everybody here. So I'm very much looking forward to go through the number of charts and answer people's questions and have conversations, but I'd love for it to just for a moment focus on what is going well. And Karen says, what's going well is deepening my spiritual practice. That's beautiful. Come on, what else is going well? Starlight says, I'm gaining clarity with my new career path. Yay! Gaining resources and tools to help me personally and professionally. Love that. Micah says, writing my book. Great. My house and my garden, says Sylvia. Meditating, my job. I love it. I love it. So there is a lot of good going on too. Forced to grow. Beautiful. Yeah, there's a lot of beautiful growth opportunity for us as we are going through these shifts. Excellent. So here is what we're going to be talking about today. Oh, nice. Learning abundance of time and space to go within, reflect, take care of myself, connect with nature, finding more. Ooh, I like that. Finding more. Okay. And what we're going to do is usually very quickly overview of human design. Okay, and if you are
Bueno, si ella
unmuted,
viene y se está tranquila, sí.
okay, I'm hearing some people talk. So if you can please mute yourself. Let's see. All right, excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're briefly going to go over what a human design chart is. For some of you, this is very familiar, and there are some people on there that may not necessarily know. So here we go. So this is the human design mandala. If you've requested a chart, you most likely will have received this chart from me. This is basically the moment of your birth where all the planets were aligned in just the perfect way for you to have access to the perfect skills and qualities and quirks. Yes, quirks too, in order to be living your perfect life, whatever perfect is, right, for you. Now, there's a lot of different components that make up the human design chart, and those components are the I Ching hexagrams that you can see here that activate these particular gates that could be active in your chart. There are also the zodiac signs that are being activated by the particular planets that happen to be in that particular zodiac sign. And then there are the centers that are an expansion of the chakra system. We used to be, according to human design, more a seven-centered chakra being. We are now evolved to a nine-centered chakra being. So this is just to give you an idea of the number of different components that make up the chart. There is layer upon layer upon layer. And what comes out is a beautiful chart that represents you. Now, your chart is static at the moment of your birth. It will never get back to the moment of your birth because all the planets will continue to keep moving. The sun will come back on the moment of your birthday, but all the other planets will continue to keep moving and will create different configurations within your chart. So as you go through life, planets, people around you, your environments will all have an effect on how you are able to bring out your life. So with your chart, you see that there are a number of words that you can kind of sit with and percolate with and see what comes out when you just focus on that for you. You will also have received a brief video about your type. If not, let me know and I'd be happy to resend that to you. But that should give you just a tiny little bit of an understanding, or at least a tiny tool to be able to refocus if you need to and bring more ease in your life, because that's what my goal is with all of these calls, is to help you recognize yourself, help you recognize how you matter, what you bring into this world, and how we all need what you have to bring in, and how you can live a life that has most ease and flow. Now, we're all here to have our learnings, and learnings don't always come easy. We all know that. And that's what these calls are for, to be able to have those moments of, wait, why is this happening? And what can I do about this? And how can I make this easy for me? So that's what we would look for when we're looking at the chart. And I know that there are some people here that are very familiar with human design. So if that is you, feel free to, chime in, send in your little, there we go, send in your little moments of wisdom that you have about a chart, because I love to see what you see. And we all learn most that way. Okay, so let's delve in, shall we? All right. So the first chart is Starlight, and Starlight is here. I'm excited. So I will be talking about your chart. And hey, so just an FYI, if you're not here live on the call, I will possibly take your chart and do it as a mini human design, little mini video to be able to share it after the call. Well, if you are here live, we have a chance to actually chat a little bit. Okay. So Starlight, here is your question. Do you want to say anything about it?
Um, well, I guess what I'd like to say is I've had some clarity even after I've sent in the question. And I think that this is a lesson around how to do boundaries, which I really don't have much experience with, and it feels really scary to me. But yeah, so I guess that's what I'll say.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. Boundaries are definitely important for you, because when we look at Starlight's chart, you can see how much of that chart is undefined. And with undefined, I mean not colored in. You have to imagine that what is colored in the birth chart is what you consistently have access to. This is the part in how you know yourself. This is what you can always draw on 24/7. The other parts that are white, this is where life gets to play with you, or you get to play with life. So this is where your environment comes in, and you will notice that with certain people, you have an instant, oh my gosh, resonance, everything is great. And with other people, it's like, ooh, they kind of throw me off. I don't quite feel so well with these people. It's because of the way that they influence those areas in your chart where you are not defined, or sometimes where you are defined and they may even throw you off your own kilter. So this is one of the fun things for me, to be able to look at relationships and see what goes on here. So in your question, you say, we've decided to stay friends. And how can we do this? Because it's really not that easy, right? So let's take a look at both your charts. On the one side, we have Starlight. On the other side, we have roommate, new roommate. And we can just see that Starlight has 3 centers that make up the bottom left. And the roommate doesn't have the bottom center, but has the kind of that middle section. like a few of, like two of those centers that Starlight doesn't have. And Starlight has a center that Roommate doesn't have. Now, what happens is that we tend to, in life, attract people that make up the parts that are not us. We're always interested in learning about the other or experiencing ourselves through the other. Okay. So in this particular configuration, we see that you have a lot of foundation, like a lot of grounding potentially in your design. And your roommate has a little bit more of an elevated experience, if that makes sense. Yeah, a little lighter, not quite as grounded. Okay. Now, when we put the two of you together, we can see immediately what happens, right? All of a sudden, these centers are defined. We have three undefined centers. And so there is a lot of energy that is happening, and there's still openness for both of you to together experience new things. Now, in a relationship, when you have one center open, that is good to be able to focus on together. And if you have more than one, it means that energy can be dispersed in different areas. And sometimes you will move in the same areas and sometimes in different areas. So one of the things immediately, if you want to maintain the friendship versus a love relationship, is to recognize that the other person is other, is different from you, and their interests are very separate from yours. You guys have a lot in common, that's obvious, but there's also a lot of separateness. Does that make sense so far, Starlight?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So the question is, without going into the why you made the decision for staying friends, sometimes the universe puts us together with another person because there is something that we really need to get from the other person. And looking at both your charts, one thing that you're being filled in is that center of the self. And from our previous conversations, I know that, I'm sorry, I'm going to mute someone. There we go. I know that 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 inner direction of career and of where shall I live, that has been something of a focus for you in the past. And so it may be that this person is in your life to help you kind of click into what is your current purpose, what is your current way of expressing your life in the outside world. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. And I can go into it. I do have a brief explanation for why we've decided to be friends, if that helps, but I don't know.
No, that's that's all right. That would be more for like a real in-depth coaching conversation. But um, it is a question like, why is the universe putting us together? Because there is obvious attraction, there's obvious care for each other. And I say obvious attraction. So one of the things that I look for, just for everybody, is where are the channels connecting together and where are the channels overlapping. So when you can see in this chart, you see that there is a focus here, the 952 right here, going from the root center to the sacral center. That particular channel is a channel of focus. When that is activated, it brings additional focus on really knowing details about each other. So there is a potential that you'll have great conversations that will really go in depth. And of course, you're both generators, so there's both a real attraction to be able um, to kind of learn from each other and to really bring things in. He has more energy because there is more of a connection directly to the throat. Your your generator experience is a little bit more cyclical, if that makes sense. So your energies will be a little bit different. Um, where you are good together is where you are bringing in the skills and your roommate is bringing in the depth. So together there is a real fun way of learning something, potentially learning something together that you could really create a talent out of. And I'm looking at the, the spleen center that connects all the way up to the throat. There is that channel that is both blue and green. It's those blue and green connections that's really where sparks fly, where you can really get into it with each other. And then there is another one of those between the diamond shape, the 25th gate, and the 51st gate in the red triangle. That channel has a very spiritual potential. So there is a very high potential where you're both really are checking in with each other. Like, how are you on your life path? How can I support you on your life path? So those are areas where, as again, sparks fly. It can be super exciting. It can also be, potentially there can be some potential, strife potentially, but it is also where kind of that desire to really be more than just friends can come from. When you're looking truly at the how can we be just friends, focus on, for instance, the 35th gate. That is the gate of progress. Like, what are we learning from this? What have we learned from this? What have you learned that I can that you can share with me, and what have I learned that I can share with you, and we can both learn from each other. So that is a big focus if you truly want to look at how can we be just friends. There's also the connection between the 50 and the 27, and that particular connection is this gate or this channel of support and nurture for each other. So there's this really caring connection that you both have. So does any of this make sense, Starlight, for you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what you're saying resonates. And yeah, so far it sounds good. It sounds like it resonates. So it sounds like the focus could be on like learning and growing.
Yeah. 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 And just sit with the question of what is the universe wanting for me out of this connection?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good question, and I think I'm peeling back layers.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Well, there's a lot of beautiful resonance in the chart. And again, this gives you an opportunity to, when you're around this person, to really tap into yourself. Like, what am I learning about my direction in life and about my life path when I am with this person? And that may be all that is necessary out of this relationship.
yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So here is Doña. And I know, Doña, you are on the call as well. Doña, I read your mail, and I am so sorry to hear about the passing of your husband. You've been together for 30 years, and it must be really, really hard year. And especially since you're having trouble with his daughter from his first marriage, and you now have to leave the house where you were together for all these years. And you asked, well, what does the human design chart, or what may the human design chart be able to offer about this? Um, Sonia, you are here? Yes, you are. Okay. So, so first of all, if we are just simply thinking about your situation, again, my heart goes out to you. And what it reminds me of is a time in my life when things were in major upheaval. And what I noticed was that I got into survival mode. And when we get into survival mode, what happens is that the first thing that shuts down is our breathing. We arch or hunch our back. Our breathing gets very shallow, short, quick. And breath is the entrance for spirit in our body, the ability to access our spirit. So as you're in this experience with all of this happening around you, my first concern is about you and your connection to spirit so that you are open to opportunities coming your way. Okay. And Doña, if you want to just put in the chat if you have any comments about this or questions or a thumbs up, if that resonates or not. There is a great technique from HeartMath that I've used with many, many clients, and it always works. And maybe we can all do it together for just a moment, just to bring some ease and calm into everybody's system here. And together we can create a field that may be able to support you. So what I'd like everybody to do, if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. Great. I'm glad you know the technique. Excellent. So let's all practice this for just a moment. So if you want, you can close your eyes and then bring your attention to the center of your chest, to your heart. And if you focus on your heart, as you breathe in, pretend that the air is flowing in through your heart and out of your heart. And again, in through your heart and out of your heart. Just finding that nice and easy breathing pace in through your heart and out of your heart. Activating a sense of calm. Just breathing in through your heart, out, and a sense of receiving care from everybody around, in through your heart and out. And one last time, in through your heart and out. Okay. So how was that for everybody? I certainly felt it. It was very nice for me. And I hope that it has given you also just a little moment to just anchor back in yourself. Wonderful. Excellent. Natasha says very soothing. Yes, yes, I agree. Because this gives you a moment, beautiful. Yeah, beautiful and calm is what Donya says. This gives you a moment to touch base with yourself, and every step that you're taking, keep asking yourself, am I coming from fear, which is survival, or am I coming from love? Because love is connected to trust. Yeah. So am I contracting or am I expanding? Because when we look at your human design, we see that there is a couple of areas where you are defined, and then there are some areas in the middle where you are undefined, or even what we say completely open, where there's no activation at all. So those are the places, again, where the universe comes in through other people, through our environment, and it gives you an opportunity to truly expand yourself and really experience everything that your environment has to offer. Now, what I'm trying to say with that is when I look at that center of the self, that diamond center, it is completely undefined. There's no gates active at all. So it's an open gate, which means that you have the ability to live in many different places. What is important for you is that you find a place that is really something that's beautiful to your senses. Because when you are in a place that's beautiful for you, you will surround yourself with the people that will be able to give you the right opportunities. And you have this beautiful triangle, the spleen center on the left, that is really nicely activated to give you instant, in the moment readings on the people around you, on the situations around you, whether it's safe or not. Okay, so that's one of the things that I'd like you to focus on. And what really brought this home for me when I was looking at your chart was you have this channel. It's called the channel of struggle. And it's the channel that comes from the root, from the 38th gate, going up to the spleen to the 28th gate. This particular channel of struggle, I don't necessarily like that name because, you know, you're not here in this life to invite struggle. But what you are here for is to find your own way. And as you do that, you have the determination to push through struggles. Yeah. So that's your given. And then I looked at the 28th gate because the 28th gate is the game player. It's how you stand in life. How do you approach life? And your 28th gate is both with the second line as well as the fifth line. So just for fun, I looked up in Chetan Parkin's book. I hope you can see it. This is the Book of Lines, and the 28th gate, here we go, is honoring the courage and tenacity needed to meet life's personal challenges. Now listen to 28:2, and I'm getting goosebumps. A friend in need, finding and offering assistance in tough times in unusual places. You fulfill all needs by aligning yourself with any source that is willing to cooperate with you. So in other words, it's baked in your design to help you find and attract those people that can support you in difficult circumstances from unusual circumstances. Okay, so there's that one. And then the fifth line is trusting. Relating clearly with your present environment, you can intuitively honor your reality or attempt to restructure it and cause it to collapse. So in other words, when you are intuitively listening around for what is coming to you and honoring what's really there, not finding a different reality, it should be this or it should be that, because obviously it is not. Right? But by accepting it and honoring that reality, you can align yourself and trust that the right circumstance and the right people will be able to find you. Does that help, Donya? And if you want to, if you have any questions or comments, you're welcome to put them in the chat. Yeah, because this is a beautiful chart in a difficult circumstance. So you're being part of this whole shifting that we're all going through on the planet to really help all of us really raise our own vibration to raise the vibration of the planet, right? We're shifting. And Donya says, yes, this resonates with gratitude. Wonderful. Okay. Excellent. So let me go to Karen. Oh, there we go. And Karen is saying, I'm considering a move away from the city and into a small town atmosphere for a more quiet life. What's more important for me? Change in home location with increased debt, or stay where I am and endure the noise of the city? um, did you want to say anything about that, Karen?
Well, it's been good that I've been on mute because there's been so much noise all around me here. And this is what is getting to be an area of sensitivity for me, is an increase in the sensitivity to the noise and the disruption and feeling unsettled. And I'm just wondering if there's any relationship to my chart around this particular element in my life.
Yes, great question. Great question. So when I look at your chart, one of the things that I see is when you're seeing the sacral center going up to the self center, that particular channel is of someone who really needs to live life in their own way. It's very individual. You have definitely this individual, very um, acoustic sensitivity. So the fact that you say you're becoming more and more sensitive to sounds really doesn't surprise me. And so there may be a nudging for you to move somewhere else. You definitely have that gut response that can let you know when and where that comes from. You know, that same channel that I just alluded to will also give you a sense of where is my place, because the 10th gate is all about self-love and being, where can I be myself, where I can be myself in love in myself at the best of my being, and bring the power to it to be that. So if you're feeling that where you are in Vancouver right now is no longer the right place, then perhaps it is time to start looking for something else. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is I looked at, well, what are the environments that you would do well? And the environments are areas where you are kind of in the middle of things, because you're really good at being around places where things are being created, where places are being designed. So being in the midst of that, that's a place where you can really come to your fruition. Now, if you want to take on extra debt for that, I'm not sure that that is the real question or the real worry, because when I look at your chart, you do have both the 55th gate, which is the gate of abundance, you have the 14th gate, which is the gate of prosperity, and you have the 45th gate. Now, it doesn't mean that you will never you'll never be poor or you'll always be a millionaire. You know, I can't say that. But when you have those the three gates of prosperity in a chart and you have all three active, it means that there is an ability for you to work with your resources. Okay. And it's for you to determine what is wealth truly for me.
Yeah, thank you very much. And, I do see an abundance in my life in so many ways. And it certainly isn't always about money. I do live that and the gratitude of that. And isn't it interesting that I have access through those gates that indicate the opportunity to create whatever it is that I need?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes. Well, and that goes into your second question about you are gaining all these healing gifts
Yeah,
and what to do with them.
yes,
You know, shall I start my business or not, right? Is really your question.
yeah.
Yeah. So can I ask you for a moment to close your eyes and just drop into your heart and just get calm? And I'll ask you a couple of questions.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. So, Karen, do you like roses?
Yes,
Okay. Do you like broccoli?
yes,
Okay. Do you like to walk on the beach?
yes,
Okay. Do you like the feel of sand on your feet?
Yes.
Okay. Do you like to roll in the mud?
No.
Okay. Do you want to start a business?
No.
Do you want to just go and share your gifts?
Yes.
Okay. That sounds pretty clear to me.
Yeah, that was interesting. That became very clear. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, as a generator, you have access to this really beautiful internal knowing that can just help guide you. So as you are listening to yourself, sometimes it's easier if you record your questions and ask yourself and just really sit with the answer, or have someone else, like in this case, this is one of the things that I do with clients, right?
Yeah.
I just use the strategy to help you bring out your inner knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know. If you at some point are interested in creating your own business, you certainly can, because again, you have those different configurations. There are different things that would kind of help you tune it up. But one of the things is I would suggest to have other people set your price for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
because you have that undefined heart center. And when you have an undefined heart, it's really difficult to know your own value. So ask your, the people that you trust,
Yeah.
like, what should I be charging for this? Maybe
Right.
you should offer what you're offering through some other service so that you're not doing it, but you're still being paid for it in a different way. That's just something that came up.
Right. I appreciate that. Yeah. Thanks for that insight.
Yeah. Okay. You're so welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Now I want to check in. Gail had some question, and I'm not sure if she is here. Otherwise, maybe we'll be able to go back to Gail. No, I don't see Gail right here. So, Erica, you are here? Yes. Wait, hold on. There we go. Erica, you had a question about travel. Oh, good, Sparky. I'm so glad that Karen's question is also answering you. I love that. So, Erica, first of all, congratulations with your son's well, soon to be born baby in a few months. You must be so excited. That's wonderful. And you're wondering if it is a good time to travel to Europe during the time where your grandchild may be born. So, great question. And what I did is I took a look at the dates, and I did a couple of different transits to get an idea of what was going on. So first of all, this transit, it shows you immediately this connection between the 20th gate down to the 34th gate, which means it is a busy, busy time. It's going to be a busy, busy time. Okay. Now, when we then overlay your transits, and I got a couple other dates. There we go. I got a couple other dates. One is more on the left side, is more the beginning of the travel dates, and the second part is more around the beginning of November. What I would initially say is that the October timeframe would be better for you than the November timeframe. And the reason I'm saying that is, first of all, if you're looking at that center of the self, I know I keep coming back to the center of the self this call, so there must be something in this for all of us. But this is giving you your instant knowing and your instant sense of direction with where you are and who you are when you're there. You will be less on the influence of who is around you and more connected to your inner sense of knowing. Okay, so that is a really big thing. The
If I
other
go,
part,
are you referring to the left-sided chart?
yes,
Okay.
yes, if you go. And I don't know if you can see my mouse, if I'm moving my mouse.
I can.
Okay. So this particular connection makes this really strong. for you to find your own way of being wherever you are. So if you're deciding to travel, this is giving you a place of coming from yourself wherever you are. The other part that is really, I think, really important is if I'm looking on the other side, here you have again that channel of struggle that I alluded to earlier. Now, maybe up to you, but if I'm traveling, I'd rather not have to use all my tenacity to really move my way forward during my travels,
No.
right? So there is, potential to have delays and things like that. So it just seems like the first time during the beginning, like the beginning of your travels in October would be, I would say, potentially better for you.
Okay. So the early
But
part of October?
the October timeframe that you gave me. So I looked at the October 15, October 20th, that was all
Mhm.
good. But then the beginning of November is going to be more difficult for you, or at least then we get more this chart of the traveling part with struggle.
Okay. But
Yeah,
15
and
through 20 is only 5 days, October 15th through the 20th.
well, no, those are just the dates that I chose. So I would suggest to go, from somewhere in October until the beginning of November, and by November be back. Arlene is actually bringing up that Mercury retrograde ends on October 17th, and then there is a shadow phase. So that's always a good thing to keep in mind as well.
I don't know what that
Yeah.
means.
So Mercury retrograde is usually a 3-week period that happens 3 to 4 times a year. And there's usually what they call the shadow, is where it can take up to 3 to 6 weeks actually afterwards, where you may still have some of the Mercury retrograde experiences of where delays can happen, connections may not happen as easily, communication, transportation, all of these things can be more difficult in how we connect with others and how we connect to the world around us. So that's just something to keep in mind. One thing that I would suggest to do, because you are also that manifesting generator, you have that gut response, is to check in with yourself, or have someone ask you, have your husband ask you, do you really want to go?
I
Is this the
don't.
right time? Okay. Okay.
I don't.
Yeah. I'm going to say something, and it may come out rude, and I apologize in advance, but I'm going to check in with you how long you want your life to be led by your mom.
That is a problem for me.
Yeah. 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 And she's no longer here.
Mhm.
So you have a chance, you have an opportunity to make a different choice for yourself.
Mhm. Okay, so, but it doesn't look like a good time. I don't want to even go with this Delta variant and everything. It's just too scary and stressful to travel.
Yeah. I hear it in your voice.
Mm.
I hear it in your voice. So sit with that and ask yourself, whose permission do I truly need in order to make a different choice that's better for me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. Like I said, there's a lot of shifting going on for all of us. Here we go. Okay. Natasha, are you here?
Oh, excuse
Good.
me.
Excellent.
My voice.
And Donya, yes, there will be a replay for sure. All right. So, Natasha, this is a great question. Oh my goodness, career. I'm a manifesting generator and I tend to switch directions and interests often. I find myself constantly seeking satisfaction in the way that I show up and serve, yet rarely do I reach it. Oh, the manifesting generator dilemma. My motivation to create and take action comes and goes with my mood. There's more waiting and pausing than there is motion. So, what career might allow for that? And is this possible for me or is this impossible? Is this something that I might be able to get to? Oh, great. Excellent. Excellent. There's other people that have the same questions. Yes. Is there anything you want to share about that, Natasha?
I'll just share that I've now, excuse me for my voice, it's very funny at the moment. But
No problem.
in 2018, I graduated from university. And that fall is when I first met you and started exploring human design.
Mhm.
For these last 3 years, almost 3 years now, there hasn't been a very clear direction forward. I've tried different things here and there, but for the most part, I've been in a great time of pause and questioning and not knowing,
Mhm.
waiting for that clarity from my emotional center.
Mhm.
And I get little pockets of it, but it's fleeting. And then I'm just left with still no clarity in
Yeah.
how what I'm supposed to be doing right now, or how I'm able to serve. What's the best use of this time for myself?
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Um, so just to go back to the manifesting generator component, and the funny thing is that both Sparky and Erica, who are also manifesting generators, who also have that same configuration where we have this 20th connection to the 34, this channel of being busy. You all have that because there is this wanting to express yourself in the moment, but that moment can come too fast, right? You have the moment, you have the desire to just jump in, and it may not be the right moment. So you have this opportunity to get involved with things that are not right for you to fully delve into. Um, Plus, a manifesting generator, there is this kind of busyness around, like, shall I do this? Shall I do that? Shall I do that? And you have this ability, this amazing ability that generators would love to have, where you can actually shift gears as you're going through it all, as you're right in the middle of it. A generator has to get to the end of it and has to just kind of plug forward until it gets to this point of like, oh, I really cannot go anymore. And then you can shift. But for manifesting generators, it's like, oh, this. And that's both a gift and a curse, right? Because the gift is you can quickly shift direction. The curse, if you want to call it that way, the difficulty is that you may bypass what is really important there for you to learn. Okay. Um, so the the thing to do is always, always, always check in with what your feelings have to say in your case. That is where your truth lies. Now, as you say, it depends on my mood. Yes, it absolutely depends on your mood, but you will notice that underneath the ups and downs, there is kind of a line, there is a thread that will give you an overall sense of, yeah, this is something that I really want to delve into. Or no, actually, this was just a moment in time, and it kind of outlived its purpose. And just to make it even more interesting is that you have this connection from the 41st gate in the root to here, the 30th gate, which is the gate of desires. This particular line has everything to do with oh my gosh, you see the possibilities out there. You have this great imagination, great plans. And there is this like, will what I jump into and want to share with other people actually fulfill me? Will it fulfill other people? Will it give me that desire, that outcome that I'm desiring or not? And very often you'll notice that your eyes were bigger than your plate or your stomach, however they say the eyes are bigger than your stomach, where you have this, oh my gosh, it can be all this. And then reality sets in and you're maybe not so excited about it anymore. So in other words, there is a lot of opportunity in you to really try out a lot of different things, but to always come back to yourself. Like, how is this aligning with me? Is this an opportunity for me to really share my self-love with the world, where I can be an example of that self-love? Again, we have that 10th gate, right? That we want to always honor. So important. And then your gates of career that we looked at before are your first gate and the 54. So the first gate is everything to do with being creative. You're here to be a creative force of showing self-love and higher truths, right? Your sun, it's all about higher truths that you see with other people in a way that aligns you with others to be able to you know, walk up that ladder so that you can share it with your community. You can be of help to your community, but you will want to do that in a way that is not drawing too much attention to you, because that may throw you off your path. Does that make sense?
Is that where possibly the life theme of obscuration comes through? Like, it's like I'm
Yes.
there, but I'm not the center of focus. It's not clear,
Yes.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
to others
Well,
who I am.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, and on top of that being your life theme, you also have the 5th line in your sun. So when we look at the top right, the personality sun is 61.5. The 5th line always has a mask. You know, there's like this veil so that people see more of themselves in you, or their projection of you versus the real you. And that is just a sense of, no one will truly know me. And that's where you're being asked to truly love yourself.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that 54th gate, I mean, you have it 3 times, 4 times. I can't quite see. Yeah, you have it 3 times. That one's big for you. This 54th gate here, this gate of ambition. So I would sit with that and ask myself, where is this ambition drawing me? Where is it serving my community? So in a way that I can still be in integrity. That's really huge with this particular gate, where I can be integrity. And um, when you have that desire to get involved with something, to do something, to recognize for yourself, well, what am I hoping to get out of it? Is that, I hate to say realistic, because I don't want you to be realistic, but is it worth my energy? And really sit with that question. Will it get me what I'm hoping it will get me? Listen to your gut response. And then be your amazing self as only you can be. Okay.
Hmm. Okay, thank you. Yeah, is it a better question, I guess, to ask, is it worth my energy versus is it worth my time? Perhaps?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Um, this would be any kind of job that would allow you to work a lot by yourself. You don't have to always work by yourself because, you know, you're someone who can bounce off other people too as a manifesting generator, but working a lot by yourself so that you have your own way of doing things is important. And in a way that you can follow your own ebb and flow. Because as a manifesting generator, you have this, you know, rush, rush, rush to get there. And then you're there and it's like, okay, wait, well, what was I doing? Okay, rush, rush, rush to get there. Yeah. So you need to be
Uh-huh.
able to find something that offers that flow. You know, there are certain um, just think of sales, right? There are certain stores. For instance, if you're working in a store, usually the holiday season is super busy, but then there are other times during the year when it's quiet. Being an accountant, you'll have certain times that are super busy. You're not a good accountant, so scratch that. But but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are jobs out there, but it's going to be a more creative job than a cookie cutter that's not right for you.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I'm still searching for that uh, perfect job situation.
Yes, yes, yeah. Well, sometimes it's also a question of just trying some things out and see how your manifesting energy holds up with that.
Mhm. Okay,
All
I have a
right.
million more questions, but I'll leave it there. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Okay, and I noticed that we are at the end of our time. So let me go very quickly. I have some other questions that I will respond to in one of the minis. And by the way, if I did not come to your question, and if you have a question that you would like to ask, please send your question and your chart to me because I may just use that in one of the upcoming human design minis that I'll record. So here very quickly are some of the energies that we are working with this week and upcoming weeks. This particular week, we are in the gate of following, gate 7, which is our internal leadership. How are we honoring our internal leadership? You know, we can be the lead in our life. That's great. We can be the lead in our own life, or we can decide to follow other people, or we can be a follower of other people. You know, how are we stepping into that our own leadership because we are currently being asked to do so. And we can do that with the help of Gate 13, the listener who listens really, really deeply to what's truly going on. Because very often we hear the words, but underneath there's so much more happening. So listen deep. What's going on this week that truly gives you the information so you can step up as a leader in your life? Jupiter is in the gate of desires. Well, we just talked about the gate of desires. Um, Jupiter is expansive. We're going to have this period where we are being gotten in touch with what we really want. So use this time to really determine what is it that you truly want in your life and how you want to approach that. This gate 19th of approach is sensitive. So Saturn is asking us how to be sensitive to how our environment is allowing us to step up as the leader, but allowing us to approach our community and who is part of our community, who is not. And of course, you know, right now we're having everything going on with the Delta variant. You know, who's part of your community, who is not. Be sensitive in how you deal with that. We mentioned gate 2, the gate of receptivity earlier. Uranus, unusual receptiveness that is coming our way, instant knowings that can be part of our inner wisdom as we're going through this. And Uranus is going to be there for a couple months at least, as is Neptune in the gate of crisis resolution. We may be presented with situations that make us feel they're too much, like the fool stepping off the ledge. If we trust, we're being asked to truly trust, next step will be there. Yeah. And Pluto is offering us these great moments of inner truth. Good. I'm so glad that you learned so much. It's been my pleasure. I am going to wish you all a wonderful, wonderful week. Keep surfing the energies. And Arlene, I am a 1-4. And if I did not get to your question, as you saw, I have many more questions and charts. If I did not get to your question, I will use it most likely in one of the upcoming human design minis. So please watch out for those. I usually send them about once a week or so, where I answer your question with a brief mini video. And I look forward to seeing you all next time. Take care, everybody. Thank you.